Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into just a single verse from the book of Revelation, one that has fascinated and, let's be honest, confused people for centuries. We're going to see how just a few ancient Greek words can unlock this incredible political and spiritual drama.
So, let's start with the puzzle itself. Revelation 17:9 gives us this really cryptic image, a woman sitting on 7 mountains. But right away, the text gives us a clue. It tells us that to understand this, you need a mind which hath wisdom. It's basically saying, hey, don't take this literally.
Okay, so how do we get that wisdom? Well, like any good detective, we have to go back to the source code, the original language it was written in, Koine Greek. The author's very specific word choices, that's our first key to cracking this whole thing open.
And, the first key word is right there in the verse's own instructions. The word is nous. This isn't just about reading the words on the page. It's a call for a much deeper kind of thinking, for real insight. The text is literally telling us, you've got to dig deeper here. There's a hidden layer.
So that brings us to the central image, ore, the Greek word for mountains. Now on the surface, that seems pretty simple, right? Mountains are mountains. But remember, the text just told us to use our nous, our deeper wisdom. So we have to ask a really important question about what these mountains truly represent.
So here it is, the big question. Are these 7 actual physical mountains? Some people have suggested the famous 7 hills of Rome. Or is the text guided by that call for pneumis, pointing us towards something else entirely, something symbolic?
Well, here's the thing. In the language of biblical prophecy, physical objects are often used as powerful symbols. And a mountain, what does that make you think of? Something huge, unmovable, powerful. It's a classic symbol for a kingdom, an empire, or just a major system of authority. And this isn't just some wild guess either. This kind of symbolism is all over the Bible. Just look at Jeremiah 51. God calls the entire empire of Babylon a destroying mountain. He's obviously not talking to a pile of rocks. He's speaking to a kingdom. So we have a precedent for reading the symbol this way.
So, if we take that understanding and apply it back to Revelation, the picture gets so much bigger. If mountains are systems of power, then the 7 mountains aren't a place. They're a complete, unified system of worldly power that all came together against Jesus.
And that number 7 is also a massive clue. In prophetic language, 7 often means completeness or something being perfected. Now, that doesn't always mean something good. You can have a perfect storm, right? In this case, it represents a perfected system of rebellion, the whole shebang.
So, what did this perfect, unholy union actually look like? Well, it was a coalition of pretty much every type of power you can imagine. You had the might of Roman political power, the corrupt religious leadership, a completely twisted legal system, and you had the cultural pressure from the crowds. And behind it all, a satanic influence pulling the strings. And here you could see exactly how those different mountains of power all coordinated their strike. You had Pilate representing the political machine, Herod with his mockery, the high priest giving it a religious cover, and even the people being manipulated. It was a full-on, multi-front assault, all aimed at one person. And what's just incredible is that this exact alliance was predicted centuries before it ever happened, right there in Psalm 2. It describes this precise moment when the world's rulers would actually unite for one single purpose, to oppose God's anointed one. The Gospels even point out that Pilate and Herod, who were enemies, became friends on that very day. So you have this complete 7-part system, this perfect storm of worldly rebellion, all aligned against him. The obvious question is, did it work? Did their seemingly flawless plan actually succeed?
And this is where the story takes this unbelievable twist. Because according to the New Testament writers, the plan did succeed, just not in the way they thought it would. The book of Acts explains that even though wicked hands carried out the crucifixion, it was all happening according to the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of God.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. That perfect storm of opposition, that complete union of rebellion symbolized by the 7 mountains, it actually became the very instrument of its own defeat. Their greatest act of rebellion was, without them even knowing it, fulfilling a divine plan. What they intended for absolute evil became the vehicle for the ultimate good, salvation through the cross. It's a wild reminder that sometimes the most complex puzzles have the most profound solutions.